Will Smith is a
Oh, I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. He's really an...
Rob Schneider is ripping the mask off of Hollywood's corrupt elites, and his first target is Will Smith.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith and his wife was her son's friend, okay?
Because now, 3 years after that disgraceful slap against Chris Rock at the Oscars, Will Smith has gone from beloved Fresh Prince to Hollywood's most hated laughingstock. Subscribe to Hollywood Pulse for more bombshells like this. And just take a look for yourself.
Did you ever speak to Chris Rock after the slap? Because he's your mate.
Yeah.
I would have been straight on the phone if it was my mate getting slapped.
No, but I was in a sticky situation because I was actually, an elected official of the union at the time.
Oh.
Will Smith is a...
I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. He's really an... But he's a deep, dark thing. To do that in front of all those people, to a really great, legendary comedian who's literally the best comedian of our generation.
Sure.
You wouldn't have like this whole wave of comedy that came after if it wasn't for Chris Rock. He's kicked open the doors. So for him to do that, but I wasn't allowed to say anything at that time because we were part of the committee that was supposed to punish him.
And how do you punish him?
Wow, wait. Just back up a second. Hang on.
I want to know
Will
what the punishment
Smith is like, for me, when I met him, right, I always say...
Like the nicest, most wonderful. He's a liar. Complete, utter fraud.
Really?
It was exposed in that time.
Okay, we all thought in that time, he was under all this pressure, though. And
I've been under pressure. Kyle's been under pressure. You've been under pressure.
Interesting you say that about Will.
No, Will is a douchebag, and that's something that you can't... The thing is, that's how politically correct the Academy is.
Right.
That they were so cowardly. Because if I would have done that, they would have been hauled out to prison. But because they were so worried about being, racist or whatever, they were like, we can't be... The point is, violence is what it is, and what the color of your skin or your religion doesn't matter.
Sure.
If you commit a crime in front of other people, you get hauled out of there.
And here's why I think Rob is spot on. It was like the Academy, the audience, and even Chris Rock had been paralyzed into inaction, while Will Smith just sat there like nothing happened. Reportedly having just refused the Academy management's order to leave the building after he engaged in an all-out assault against a fellow comedian for telling a pretty mild joke.
Praying that Will Smith wins, like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Let's be real here. It wasn't for Chris Rock keeping his composure. That night could have spiraled into a full-on brawl in front of millions. The man stood there with fear, anger, and shock written all over his face, but he held it together and kept the show moving. That kind of restraint deserves respect. As for Will Smith, that stain on his reputation isn't going anywhere. It doesn't matter how many new films he drops, how many awkward apology tours he does, or even when he tries to slide back into music. In fact, his latest freestyle rap feels more like he's mocking Chris Rock than showing any real remorse.
If you're talking crazy out your face up on the stage and disrespect me on the stage, expect me on the stage. Expect me on the stage.
And that's exactly why people roll their eyes at a so-called apology video. It felt rehearsed, like something cooked up by lawyers and publicists just to dodge lawsuits, not a man owning up to what he'd done. Nobody's buying it, especially when Chris Rock's own mother publicly called him out.
When Will slapped Chris, he slapped all of us, but he really slapped me.
Why do you say that?
Because when you hurt my child, you hurt me.
Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did. And, that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and, I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. That was a horrific night, as you can imagine. There's many nuances and complexities to it, but at the end of the day, I lost it. I was gone. I was, that was a rage that had been bottled for a really long time.
And what makes it even more surreal is that minutes after the slap, was backstage dancing with his Oscar, surrounded by a cheering crowd, like the whole room had been hypnotized and forgetting what just happened. But not everyone stayed silent. Denzel Washington pulled him aside that night and gave him some wisdom he clearly needed. At your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you. And honestly, it did feel like something darker had taken over him in that moment. Even Jim Carrey, who usually avoids Hollywood drama, spoke up. He didn't just call out Will. He blasted the Academy, too, for standing by and letting it all slide when the world was watching.
You watched it unfold, and then what happened after?
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. If you want to yell from the audience and disapprove or show a disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
Y'all know what happened to me. Getting smacked by Suge Smith. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Yes. It happened. I got smacked like a year ago. Last week, I got smacked in the Oscars by this. And people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. Because everybody knows what the happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have any entanglements. I did not have any entanglement. And then for people that don't know, what everybody know, Wilson, his wife was her son's friend, okay? Now, I normally would not talk about this, but for some reason, these put that on the internet. I have no idea why two talented people would do something that low down. What the we all been cheated on. Everybody in here have been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television.
Because let's be honest, Chris didn't have to work too hard to hit Will Where It Hurts. Will Smith's public image was already crumbling long before the Oscars. That infamous red table talk with Jada, the whole world watched him sit there broken, while she confessed to sleeping with her son's best friend and somehow twisted it into his fault. It was humiliating. You stack that kind of personal pain on top of years of bottled up frustration, and eventually it's going to erupt. For Will, it exploded on live television in a 30-second outburst that wiped out 3 decades of respect and admiration in one blow. And that's the real tragedy here. A lifetime of building a legacy, undone in less than a minute. It's a brutal reminder of what happens when boundaries aren't respected and when private wounds get dragged into the public eye. But that's just how I see it. How do you connect the dots in this messy, complicated story of Will Smith's rise, fall, and everything in between?